Hello and welcome to Elijah Unpacks. My name is Elijah and thank you so much for watching. I felt I needed to do this reaction video because this is absolutely urgent. It's important and you will know why it's important. I think the first thing is that there is a date attached to it, the date of the 10th of August. Today is the 7th, so there's not much time. That's why I needed to do this short video to clarify a few issues. So this morning I received a WhatsApp message from a friend and colleague who said to me, please have a look at this. And I looked at it and I thought, this cannot be left unchallenged. So as I read, I find that the passage that he has sent me is from a Facebook post by Reverend Kenneth Meshoe, he of the ACDP, you know, the political party that is in parliament. So Reverend Meshoe writes, the ANC removed prayer and the teaching of biblical values from schools in order to make space for teachings about ancestral worship in schools. There's a lot that's wrong with this passage. I'm just reading one line. The second line says, the ACDP will never allow ancestral worship to be taught in schools. Now, before we respond to this, let's go to the Constitution. So, my reading of the Constitution, Chapter 2, which is the Bill of Rights, says, everyone has the right to freedom of conscience, religion, thought, belief, and opinion. Religious observances may be conducted at state or state-aided institutions, provided that those observances follow rules made by the appropriate public authorities, they are conducted on an equitable basis, and attendance at them is free and voluntary. But it also says, this section does not prevent legislation recognizing marriages and concluded under any tradition or any system of religious, personal or family law, and so on and so on. So I'm not interested in the second part. I'm just interested in the part where it says every person has a right to their own religion, and that public authorities, public institutions have a right to enable anyone who wants to practice a religion of their choice in that particular institution. But what is important is that this must be done equitably. But the other important point is that this must be done on a free and voluntary basis. That's the Constitution. It does not say religion has been removed from schools. Not at all. In this short passage that I've read, nowhere does it say religion has been removed from schools, which means the good reverend has already misled the public, already. Just in the first line of his Facebook post, which was posted, it says here 5 days ago. So if you read this and believed it, please stop and stop right now. Go and read. The Constitution says religion remains in place in public institutions, including schools. So the Schools Act says exactly the same thing, that in schools, public observances may occur provided no one is forced to do them, which means they must be free and they must be voluntary. Remember, a school is not a religious organization. The state is not a religious organization. It must create an environment where every person feels welcome. It must create a welcoming environment where no child, if it is a school, no child will feel unwelcome. No child must be ridiculed because of their religious beliefs. Nothing at all. It doesn't mean, however, that the practices cannot take place. If you are Christian, you are free to do so. If you are Muslim, you are free to do so. If you are Hindu or whatever, you are free to do this, provided that it does not interfere with the rights of others. It's important to make that point. Now, why is Reverend Meshoe saying this? Well, he was responding to something. The Education Department in KwaZulu-Natal has issued an invitation in which it says, as a member of the public, you are invited to submit papers, abstracts, on the following guiding themes. It says, coexistence of faith and culture, the impact of Ugutwasa or initiation on teaching and learning, the educator's perspective on how it is affecting teaching and learning, and developing originators of thought and action related to ancestral calling, colonial heritage, and appropriation of Western thinking. Where is this coming from? It is coming from the fact that the KwaZulu-Natal Education Department, in particular, has been experiencing challenges where young people are going to places where Bayotwasa, and some of them are practicing or showing or wish to practice their own religious beliefs. We know there have been cases where some of these cases even went to court, by the way, where children come to school wearing ispandla, abanye they wear other clothing that indicate what their religious beliefs are. And these things impact the way teaching and learning takes place in two ways. The first one is that the other children, when they are not familiar with what they are seeing, they start to ridicule other children, they start to mock at them, and they make fun of them, and these children feel bullied. And bullying cannot be allowed for any reason in school and outside school. So that's the first thing. But the second thing is that you also have teachers or school principals who don't know how to handle these complex situations. We've had court cases where schools have turned away a child because he's wearing ispandla, or another child is wearing a Rastafarian hair, or some other child is wearing ingubo etize, which indicates that they are currently going through a process which is related to a religion that they are following. That tends to disrupt the child's access to education. It impacts on the way the school should be managed. So what is now happening is that the department has followed a common sense approach, which is, by the way, built into the Constitution, that there has to be consultation. So the Department of Education in KwaZulu-Natal has said to the public, please, we want to hold an indaba. We want to discuss these matters, but we cannot do this on our own. We want your input. We have 6 or so guiding themes to which we want you to apply your mind. Sent to us so that we can have a constructive engagement and submit your papers by the 10th of August. This is why I said there's urgency to this matter. 10th of August, you need to have submitted your input to the Department of Education in KwaZulu-Natal. There's no change of policy. The Reverend there says there's a change of policy so that Education Department can teach ancestral worship. There's moves by the ANC government to remove the Bible from schools and the teaching of values, all of which is completely untrue. It is not true at all. What is taking place there? It's a simple conversation with members of the public. A simple conversation is taking place where the MEC in KZN says, let's talk. Let's all get together. This is a complex matter. It affects everyone. So let's hear from you so that we can have a fruitful discussion where we will be able to come up with solutions, because this is a matter that affects all of us. So it is important that you understand what is taking place. Religion is allowed in schools. It is actually taught in the curriculum. Learners are encouraged to know a little bit about the different religions that are there. The matter of choice is critical, as it's also enshrined in the Constitution, but also it is important for us to understand that religion and its observances are there in schools, they are practiced. As I said earlier, there are many schools where they start by reading a scripture in the morning. There's a little bit of preaching, motivating the children. There's a little bit of singing there, so that those children who choose to do that are allowed to do that. But if you are not party to this Christian practice, you are free to follow your own religion. The school should not force you to do that which you don't want to do. So it is important that there's no bashing of anyone here. There's no bashing Christianity. There's no bashing Hindu. There's no bashing Muslim. There's no bashing traditional African religion. There's no bashing of anyone. The space is open for whoever wants to do this, to do it. Previously, Christianity used to dominate and we used to see that happen. But when the constitution was put in place, it had to allow for everyone to exercise their right to choose a whole range of things, from religion to association, in terms of whatever. So it's important that we go back to our source. And in this case, our source which governs the country is the Constitution. If it's not in the Constitution, then it's unconstitutional. The Constitution governs our activities. We agree to it. Why is it that when it doesn't suit us, we say the ANC government has removed this, and in a good day, when the sun is shining, you say we have a beautiful constitution? It cannot be. We need to respect the whole book with all that it carries, because we have agreed as a country that we will be a constitutional democracy. And that's what it is. We need to understand its pains and its joys. Until such time that the constitution changes, we have to work in terms of that constitution. So the message here is that please don't be misled. Even if it's Reverend Kenneth Meshoe himself, he must not mislead you. He needs to go along with what is taking place and be truthful about what he's saying, because misleading each other is not going to be a good thing. So I hope you got something from this, whether this particular indaba that is taking place in KZN in the near future, or any other matter related to this, because I've been hearing a lot as well from different people asking me, why did you remove religion from school? It has never happened. It is there. It happens in other schools. If you want to know how, go to your school, talk to the SGB. It is the one that is supposed to put together an environment that will enable the school to practice whatever it is that the school wishes to practice. I hope you got something from this. I didn't mean to say everything, but I felt I needed to make sure that we deal with this particular matter as raised by Reverend Kenneth Meshoe, who in this case got it all wrong, completely. The only thing that is right in is to say, please submit your input to the education department. On that score, we agree. But on the rest, it's completely wrong. Take care.